Holy crap. Legion, you freaking did it. You created the best X-Men show of all time. Well, except maybe the animated series. And, yeah, everything else, you beat. Yeah. Woohoo! Yippee! There's so much in this episode. I could not unpack it all in double the time of the actual episode of the show because there's just so much to talk about. So I'm going to try my best just to hit the high points of what is my favorite episode of Legion so far. Right off the bat, we get Jermaine, Flight of the Conchord style, in this ice prison, and I have no idea what's happening. I'm like, is this Iceman, maybe? Old Bobby Drake? Trying to figure out the timeline of where this is happening. I have no idea what's going on. And he's just chilling. He's just drinking. He freezes drink solid, and you're just like, what is happening? Who is this? I don't know. I was expecting him to break out when he's telling stories and he's singing. I'm like, tell Albie, tell the Albie story. He even talked about a dragon. It was so hilarious. I love that guy. I'm so glad to see him. He nailed that role too. He really nailed it. I don't know if you noticed this cool single shot where he tells like this really long story. It was really well done. I loved it. Astral plane confirmation. Wow. Wowzer. Like, seriously, so cool. When I would read comics and see Professor X or other people in the astral plane, this is better than what I could even imagine. Yeah, things really pick up in this episode. Like, David is still unconscious and his mind is in the astral plane. He's now left the memories. They can't find him, so the gang tries to do all they can, and that is to figure out what memories are real and what memories aren't real. It's insanely confusing looking into David's mind. We as the viewer don't know what's real, and certainly Sid and Memory Guy have no idea what's real. So they decide to go track down people from David's past, and that sets off a chain reaction of glorious proportions. Who are we if not the stories we tell ourselves? An epic line from Sid as she's thinking about who is David Haller really? Who is he? Because the David that she knows is certainly not lining up with the David she's seeing in some of these flashbacks. Mind-blowingly, we find out in this episode that David's brain has created false memories to protect itself from what really happened. One thing that I liked is that everyone's starting to think David is crazy. Like, they all thought he was sane, and now they're starting to realize, like, this dude might legitimately be nuts. Everyone's kind of regretting going into David's mind and doing what they did, but you gotta deal with the consequences now. We see Oliver in a nautical-looking suit in the real world, completely frozen by ice. I'm assuming that means that they're keeping his body on ice to preserve it because maybe there's no brain function, so they're keeping him alive by keeping him frozen. And that's kind of translating to the astral plane. So over in the astral plane, Oliver goes and seeks out David and brings him into his room that he's created so that he can tell David, like, hey dude, you're stuck in the astral plane like me. It's because you couldn't face your own demons. And we're starting to get a sense of who the yellow-eyed devil is, but the reveal is epic and mind-blowing and just whoa, oh. So as Sid, Carrie, and Memory Guy all go and try to find what happened to David in his past, and they think that's going to help them figure out maybe where David is, or at least put together the pictures from the memory, we learn a couple things. We learn that Carrie, actually, this is a cool power and really weird at the same time. Carrie, male Carrie, who's older, shares a body with the younger female Carrie, and she can split off from him, but she can also feel the things that he feels, and he can feel the things that she feels when they're not in the same body. And she doesn't age unless she's split out from his body, so she looks like she's a teenager, and Carrie's like super old. And there's even a conversation about what would happen if he were to die and she were to not be in his body. Would she become like her own person? I don't know. It was super interesting, and we see at the end she gets in this awesome fight. She's awesome. She's a bad A. The A stands for awesome. She's a bad awesome. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time talking about the middle stuff that happens, but basically they try to track down all these leads from David's past, and they end up at his psychiatrist's house, or so they think. And man, then we have this incredible moment with the wolf eye guy And that dude, what is his power? Do you have any idea? If you know what his power is, let me know in the comment below, because I have no idea what his power is, but it seems like it's some type of a mental power. I don't know if it's like telepathy, or we know he could see David when he was in the astral plane looking into the room in the last episode. And in this episode, he's tricked them to thinking he's the psychiatrist, but he's really not. But also bullets were zipping by him and stuff when he was walking into the fight. The awesomest moment, one of the awesomest moments in the episode was when he knocks out the memory guy and he goes to knock out Sid, and she pulls off her glove and touches him and switch bodies. It was so awesome. It was in slow motion. You're just like, yes, Sid, yes! Because that's not really that cool of a power, but she used it awesomely there. So freaking cool looking. I don't know, it was the first time I've ever thought switching bodies was a good and useful power. So Sid pretends to be him and calls the shots and has them all loaded up, but you know she's either gonna like go to their secret lair or try to help them somehow. Meanwhile, they're holding David's sister in a cell like a prisoner. And I'm like, man, she didn't do anything but know David. And we find out this is what happened to David's psychiatrist as well. He's in the cell next to her, and neither one of them seem to be treated very well. Like, they're being treated like prisoners, all because they know David. And so we don't really know if their intention is to kill him or use him as bait or just hold them both, but it really sucks for them. Really sucks. So back in the astral plane, he decides to leave Oliver. He's like, nah, dude, I gotta get out. There's a really funny scene where he's in the room with Oliver and he's like, I'm this like super powerful mutant. I can get out. Let me just try. Ha! Ha! He tries to use his power and he can't do it, and it's really funny. So he kind of walks out into the astral plane, and when he's there, Lenny shows up. And this is where things start to get crazy. Lenny tells him, hey dude, you gotta use your powers to get out of here. And David finally gets really frustrated. He's like, who are you? Are you my friend? Who are you? Cut over to the real world. We've now found out that Lenny was not a girl. It was a middle-aged guy named Benny. Who the heck has Lenny been? Clearly someone he has created in his mind, because Benny was his friend. And it shows all the scenes we've seen with Lenny so far, except for Clockwork. I'm interested to see if in Clockwork, if Lenny was real or if she wasn't real. And what that means for when Sid put her in the wall, you know, there when she killed her. I'll be interested to see how they resolve that. But the reveal that she is not the person we've been seeing, I think she's another personality in David's head. And that is crazy because we see her really piss David off. She just starts saying all these crass things, like what they're gonna do to his girlfriend. She shows him on the screen, which she makes the screen in the astral plane, what's happening to Sid. David doesn't realize that Sid has switched bodies with the wolf eye guy. And so he thinks Sid is captured and he's just getting pissed off. And she's encouraging him. She puts her hand around him. And when she puts her hand around him, she like grabs him. She's like, get angry. And it flashes and you realize she is the yellow-eyed devil. And you're just like, oh my gosh. Ah! So it just totally changes everything that's happened up until now. We've gotten hints of this in one of the past episodes where she's getting high with Lenny, who we now know as Benny. David looks over and sees her and she flashes to the yellow-eyed devil. But clearly it's this inner personality. And dude, pissed off David, holy crap. Pissed off David gets out of the astral plane, teleports to where the truck is and stops it with his mind, and he is just pissed. He is like letting his power out. Sid and Wolf Guy have switched bodies, and so Wolf Guy was getting ready to kill David from behind in Sid's body, and we're like, no! And then old man Wolf Guy, who's actually Sid, throws a crowbar and knocks the knife out, and they all run and have this confrontation. And they switch bodies. David realizes what happened as they're getting away. And the wolf guy, back in his own body, pulls out a pistol. And bang. Shoots female Carrie. It was so sad. She fell. She's bleeding. She's probably going to die. And male Carrie fell. He was feeling the pain. It was really sad. I need to know why the wolf guy is a mutant and he's with Division 3. they kind of alluded to the fact that maybe he was with like these X-Men. They're not X-Men, but they kind of are, under Melanie and Oliver. Oliver probably has telepathic powers. We don't really know, but I'm assuming he has telepathic powers too. Maybe he's like a stand-in for Professor X here. But why he betrayed them, if that's what happened, and went to go work for Division 3, that sucks. What a traitor. What a terrible traitor. Why? Why? All in all, best episode of Legion yet. I can't sing this show's praises enough. I was a little worried around episode 2 or 3 that maybe they weren't going to make David crazy and maybe they were losing their way, but no, this episode was a freaking home run, out of the park. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. I'm looking forward to another showdown, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about Oliver, who's played by the fantastic Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you like this video, hit that like button and consider subscribing. I'm Tyler, Joseph's out of town, and you're watching Super Squad D, where the D stands for Dun Dun Dun.